Avatar: Way of Water's box office continues to move in the wrong direction, and panic is starting to set in. And James Cameron goes off in these crazy comments that we're going to be getting into today, as things are starting to not look the way that they were supposed to when it comes to this film and the outcome of it. Avatar: The Way of Water clocking in below earnings expectations. Avatar: The Way of Water earned 53 million on its opening day Friday and is now projected to make between 130 to 150 million through its opening weekend. All signs point toward The Way of Water clocking in slightly below estimates, which said the film would earn between 150 to 170 million over its opening weekend, which isn't horrible, but with everything that James Cameron has said about how this movie needs to make so much money or otherwise it's a total failure, which I think a lot of that was hyperbolic coming from him and him kind of drumming up the hype to get people to go see the movie, to be honest. And he probably was including a lot of the budget for overall all of the movies that are in the series. But with all of that aside, James Cameron is now going off with these crazy comments that we're going to be getting into here, where he says this. James Cameron says pregnant women being shown as hunters and warriors in Avatar: The Way of Water is a step forward for female empowerment. Now, this is a very controversial thing that he is talking about here that we're going to be getting into. It seems like people are taking very opposite sides on this issue from all sides of the perspectives, and to be honest, I think that it's very complex what he is saying here. I think a lot of it just stems from him, you know, virtue signaling and him trying to get as many butts into the seats as possible, and I think he thinks that this is the right way to do it, which I do not agree with, but this is what he says here. Cameron offered this insight into his creative process during a recent discussion held between himself and Robert Rodriguez. At one point during their talk, after recalling how during his viewing of the Avatar sequel, he was both really taken back by the fact that Neytiri hunts while she's pregnant and had noticed that one of the characters goes into battle pregnant, Rodriguez asked Cameron, why was this important? Everybody's always talking about female empowerment, Cameron explained to his former Alita Battle Angel collaborator, but what is such a big part of a woman's life that we as men don't experience? He continued, and I thought, well, if you're really going to go all the way down the rabbit hole of female empowerment, let's have a female warrior who's 6 months pregnant in battle. Now, to me, that is not any sort of version of female empowerment in itself, but the fact is that he is also acknowledging the fact that women are distinct from men in the fact that they can carry children, and that is indeed a form of whatever you want to call it. Female empowerment is such a cringe thing to say, but it is a form of being a woman that men will never be able to experience or relate to, and that is something that makes women very special. So I do agree with him when it comes to that aspect of it, but I also don't agree with the fact that he's saying here that, oh yeah, pregnant women always used to go to battle all the time and all this crazy stuff. That did not happen, okay? It doesn't happen in our society. Probably hasn't happened for hundreds of years, but I guarantee you, back in the day, women had to fight for survival. Probably, and protect their children, yes, and it didn't matter if they were pregnant, and pregnant women are more capable of being a lot more athletic than we as a culture acknowledge. They all turn into Galadriel from Rings of Power when they are pregnant, apparently. No, it's just ridiculous what he's saying here, but I do agree with some aspects of what he's saying here. I think the other aspects of it are very silly and don't make a lot of sense. I think that a film that is done very well when it comes to showing a pregnant mother in very high, intense, stressful situations is A Quiet Place, with Emily Blunt, where she was playing the mother in that film, and it was incredible. Her performance in that film is phenomenal. One of my favorite performances ever in movie history, probably. I think that she was absolutely terrific. But I thought, let's take the real boundaries off. He concluded, to me, it was the last bastion that you don't see. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. All these are amazing women come up, but they're not moms and they're not pregnant while they're fighting evil. And I think that he is trying to show a positive aspect of pregnancy. And I do appreciate that, because it is something that Hollywood definitely doesn't really get a whole lot into, and they kind of frown upon it in a lot of ways. So I do agree with that, but I think there's a lot of virtue signaling coming from him with all of this as well. But with all of that aside, Avatar: The Way of Water is currently doing pretty well when it comes to audiences. So it's going to be interesting to see if people are continuing to view this film positively, and if that is going to affect and hopefully give it some strong legs for its second weekend. So we're going to continue to see what happens with this entire film. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.